today there are pharmacists working in all kinds of areas, in finance, in IT, policy, in vet medicine, or maybe vet manufacturing, for example, manufacturing vet products. Consulting world is very broad.
Okay.
So, for example, I know pharmacists who went into areas like health economics. The important thing is to discover yourself. Where do you? What is it you enjoy doing? What do you feel you have talent for? Then see what is out there. Try it. Volunteer somewhere. See if you like it. And once you know this what you are, then build your skills in it. And you can do anything. Pharmacists is a very demanding course. So if you qualify to be a pharmacist, it means you have what it takes to learn a lot. If you go, for example, you are a pharmacist and go to work as a financial analyst in a bank, why should they trust? They have to initially, they're right in doubting you.
Yeah.
Why is this pharmacist? What's he doing here? But you have to prove yourself.
Hello and a warm welcome to the very first episode of Beyond Pharmacy School. My name is Millennium Diana, and today we have a guest who was formerly my lecturer in campus and now an inspiration beyond school, Dr. William Kiarie. We'll give him a chance to introduce himself. When he was teaching us, and for every cohort, I believe, he gave us a chance to visit his hotel, the place where we are recording from now. And I hope that you'll get to learn something as he talks to us. Karibu Daktari. How are you today?
Thank you, Diana. I feel very privileged to start off this series.
Thank you.
And I think it's very innovative of you to think of this. It's very needed. And it's something I would have wanted to listen to a series like this when I was your age and younger. So I hope people will find it.
I hope so. Yeah. And I'm also gaining from this. I think I'm at a transition period now that I'm doing my internship. And these are things that I would love to know because I really don't know the path I'll get into. I don't know where I'll be in 3 years' time. So, Daktari, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is William, as Diana has said, William Kiarie. I'm an old pharmacist, having completed my pharmacy school in Nairobi University way back in 1984. And then practiced pharmacy, doing different things. It was a different time, a different era. For example, it was easy to get jobs once you graduated. There were employment in government, in hospitals, in private hospitals, in industry. And within industry, there were many people doing manufacturing. A lot of multinational companies then were still in the manufacturing space. So it was a different era completely.
Okay.
In many ways, it was the best of times, as somebody has said, but also the worst of times. Because it kind of, you didn't have to be too creative to kind of succeed. And I think in so many ways, because things, especially jobs, came easy, one fell into that career trap where even when you had opportunity to do more, you really did not. And so I think in many ways, the new pharmacists are entering a very different world. I think with challenges, but I think also tremendous opportunities. I know in terms of jobs, that's a really hard place. We hope that can change and improve because the pharmacists are still needed. But I think also it's a different world. We are using this technology. It didn't exist during my time. You can do something like this and reach the whole world. The world can be your stage. You can start a business in Kenya and that business can run in multiple countries. We have AI now. So I think it's easy to focus on the negatives, on what would be better. But I think it's a time also of tremendous opportunity for young people. And there are many doors open for you that didn't exist for us, especially in terms of just technology and a world which is much more open, the broader areas to influence. So I think it's you seize the opportunities that you now have and not dwell on regrets of what could be better. Because every generation faces its challenges, but also its unique opportunities.
Okay, nice, Daktari. So I'd like us to start from the beginning. Is pharmacy what you wanted to do? You said that you did pharmacy in 1984. Is that when you graduated?
That's when I graduated.
Ah, nice. So how did you join pharmacy school and how was it like? And is it what you wanted to do?
I think the I knew I wanted to do science. That's the one thing I was very sure about.
Okay.
I loved chemistry. So I thought medicine wasn't really for me. Okay. And because I loved chemistry, pharmacy was the one course which had a lot of chemistry. So without even knowing anything or a lot about it, I think in Nairobi University, we were like maybe the fifth or sixth class. So pharmacy was very, very new.
By then, UN is the only university that was
the only
offering.
one offering it.
Okay.
So by the time I was studying pharmacy, I didn't know a single pharmacist. I never met one. So in a sense, I would say I wasn't really. It's not something I thought through. It's not something I had good career guidance on. But I still enjoyed the course. I loved the chemistry, and I did fairly well in the course. Maybe I could have done something different. So I really don't know. I think in that era, most of us went to university without really fully knowing what you're getting ourselves into and what this course entailed, what it offered once you graduated. So I don't think it was unique for me. I think that was the kind of time we lived in. We didn't have internet and so on. We didn't, as I said, there were very few pharmacists then. We were a small class of, I think, 30. And the only 30 people in the whole country doing pharmacy. So, and we lived in an era where you went to school so you could get a job. So we knew you go, you do a pharmacy, you get a job. And that's how far we looked ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Did you know the field that you wanted to venture into after pharmacy school?
I really didn't know, but when we did internship, I went to intern at Glaxo. It wasn't just Glaxo. It was later to become Glaxo Wellcome and GlaxoSmithKline. But I went, and when I went I did my internship with Glaxo. And I also did internship at KNH. And in a retail pharmacy, which is Long Plus, called E.T. Monks. Long Plus was there were very few pharmacies in those days. But when I landed in Glaxo, I kind of thought, I can do this. I loved
industry.
I loved industry. I loved the manufacturing side, but also the link to the market. That you made these products and then you'd walk into a shop and find they're being sold. There was something about that for the first time I really felt I like this. And a patient will get this product, will get better. You walk into a hospital pharmacy and you see a product you made a month ago.
Yeah. How many industries were there then?
There were actually there were many, because you remember now, we like Glaxo, we still had Glaxo, we had Wellcome, we had SmithKline, we had Beecham. So we had choice in terms of them. But I think that's the first time I really felt that I would like to do this. And just kind of going to a company where there were all this equipment, both at the lab and in manufacturing, and all this testing. There were processes and procedures and systems. That kind of felt that, yeah, this looks like something I can do. And just the technical complexity of what you're doing, making syrups, making tablets, compressing, and doing all these tests. Is it meeting the hardness test, disintegration, then chemical constitution? So that for me was the first time I felt that this is really cool and I can do this and I will do it. Unfortunately for me, once we finished internship, within 6 months, there was an opening in Glaxo. And I received this call and it was a no-brainer.
Unfortunately or fortunately?
Fortunately.
Okay. I think I had.
Okay. Fortunately, within 6 months of finishing internship, they called me and did some interviews. And I left Nyahururu District Hospital where I had been posted. And I was back in Nairobi. And I initially worked in quality assurance. And from there moved to various other departments. But I never worked for anybody else. I just worked for Glaxo all my life. For 18 years. But within Glaxo, I worked in all departments. I worked initially in quality assurance, then production. Then I worked in the commercial side, in marketing, customer service. So I loved that job, right? But and gave me a lot of exposure. I'd say almost everything I learned about work, people, the systems, processes, really stems from those days. I had a really wonderful boss, who somebody called Bharat Shah, who and who was very strict, and held everything had to be done right. Things had to be clean, smart. He didn't. He really didn't have time for people who made mistakes, and that kind of really molded me. I wasn't. I was kind of more of. I was not really that kind of very disciplined in my approach to work, and so in terms of everything I've done since that time, it doesn't matter what it is. Then I bring that kind of eye he had for things. He would walk into a room, and we had gone to that room many times, and he would see a mistake immediately. So I learned to, is everything perfect? Because if Bharat is going to come here, he will. If there's a spill on the floor,
You'll notice it.
Yeah, he'll notice it. If there's if a sign has been put a bit crooked, why is it? If the things had just be perfect. So it kind of rubbed on me, not slowly over time, but and the company put a lot of effort in training us and exposing us to everything that was changing. So for me, Glaxo, I owe a lot to it. It was a very forward-looking company. It was in many ways ahead of its time in terms of especially human resources. The people were empowered. You could make decisions. As a young pharmacist, I could, so long as I could give a reason, I could volunteer. If I had an idea, it could be listened to. Much as I was a very junior in hierarchy in the company, you could air dissenting opinion. It was a very progressive company in that way, and it gave me that way of thinking that listen to people, that people have a lot to offer if you give them an opportunity. Don't dismiss people because they are young, they're not educated, they have this or that. But it was that kind of company. It was very humane in the way it treated people. It was in many ways ahead of its time at that time. All these things people now talk about, empowering people. The company at that time had it. It was if you are senior in the organization, they didn't give you permission to post it over other people. You were expected to be courteous to everyone, however junior they were in the organization. But that kind of, I like that, and I hope it rubbed on me. So kind of to just look at people and see the best in them, and see that if given the opportunity, if you invest in them, train them, people will surprise you, and people will do amazing things. So, and as I said, I worked there for 18 years, and for me, I think it's important. I felt the work became routine. I was not. I still kind of enjoyed the work, but not that much. I didn't wake up excited to go to work and do a new thing. Maybe that also was made because the company went through a lot of changes and mergers and so on. I think and with that came a lot of rules, rigidity, decision making. I reached a point where I felt, okay, I'm only doing this job because of the salary. The salary is good, but I had seen all the challenges. I had seen we had gone through all these changes, and I kind of reached a point where I felt, okay, some of these changes are almost changes for their own sake. And I think also because as the company became big and global, many decisions were made even above country. So I just felt you have this big job, big title, but very few decisions you actually make. If you had a new product to launch, almost everything was done above country. This is how you launch. These are the key messages. These are who you will target. These are the materials you're going to use. So the creativity which we had before, and so yes, you are big, but in a sense, you kind of felt you are like puppets with the strings being pulled out in London and New York. So I just felt that you couldn't input into the processes, and even when you felt maybe certain approaches were not right, or there were better options, really the organization had become, which happens once organizations become really big.
Yes.
they have all these central level decision makers who put everyone in line. And so I felt I wanted to do something different. At that time also is this 2002, 2001 is when we were making that decision. I became very interested in HIV and AIDS as a subject. Because at that time, Glaxo was the only company then making ARVs, the first company to make ARVs. And there was a lot of pressure on access to drugs, on pricing. And as I attended conferences locally, internationally, I realized how big HIV was. And I realized working in Glaxo, I was really just playing such a small role in something which was so much bigger than I had thought. I mean, just when you looked at the numbers, the projections, and again, almost all the decisions were being made in Europe, in the US, and I felt challenged. What were we? We are the people in the countries and regions affected. What are we doing? And so with a friend of mine, we decided we are going to leave and we'll start a consulting company mainly focusing on AIDS, and mainly just to kind of empower individuals, empower corporates. There was very little information those days on HIV, just understanding of the disease, of the treatments, the prevention, the opportunities to prevent. There was massive amount of stigma. People even didn't want to talk about it.
So what year was that?
This 2001, 2002. So we left in end of 2002 and started now working in this field in 2003. And the donors didn't exist. There were no donors at that time. Everybody was trying to catch up. Mortality from HIV was extremely high, the disease burden. And combined with this stigma, you'd literally walk into the streets and you'd see 3 or 4 people who just tell they have HIV.
So it was evident then.
It was evident. And the stigma, even I still remember in Glaxo, and the first staff we had who got HIV, and they once came to visit us in the company, and it was like nobody wants to say hi. And for me, I was shocked because it's I felt that we work in a pharmaceutical company, we even make ARVs, and if we cannot deal with this situation, so I was convinced this was the right thing to do. This was the challenge of the moment, the challenge of the continent. So that's how we left without knowing how this would turn out. We let pay the bills. We let make sense. Will we be impactful? But we kind of just knew this where we want to be. We want to be in this space. And let's see how it evolves.
So, Dr. Before we get into the consultation part, let me take you back to when you were at Glaxo. You've talked of being in the quality control department, production department, and then marketing. Would you tell us the kind of roles that a pharmacist can play in the industry?
I think all those roles.
And especially in marketing, what is the role of a pharmacist in the marketing department?
I think they are marketing. Obviously, there are many aspects of marketing, from brand management, where you just think about the brand and the communication side of that brand. There is a sales part, so you can be a medical rep, you can supervise a sales force. There's a management, the wider management. There is market development. Would you want to enter a new market, a new country, and what does that involve? The distribution and customer service side, which is closely related. So I think in all those areas, the areas which really are made for pharmacists. But obviously, to excel in those areas, you also need to build your marketing skills. But I always say it's easier for a pharmacist to learn marketing than for a marketer to learn pharmacy.
So, okay, that's interesting.
You have to go back to school. But again, I think doing an MBA was the right thing for me to do. I'm not so sure now. So for every generation, but people need to ask themselves, what can I add on to my pharmacy?
Okay.
Will I go and do, for example, clinical pharmacy? Will I go and do some course on policy? Will I do something financial? Will I do something to do with data and AI?
Yeah.
But again, based on your areas of interest, I would say that everyone needs to add something to pharmacy. It doesn't have to be a degree.
Okay.
It could be a short course you do. It could be an online course. But I think for you to utilize the pharmacy skills, you need to add something to it.
Nice. Please talk us through your journey in consultation.
Yeah, so when I left Glaxo, we started doing HIV/AIDS work. Mainly, we actually worked with a lot of corporates to sensitize the workforce, to train the workforce, to reduce stigma, to encourage people to test, to know their status and that kind of thing. We developed a lot of training materials, and this was kind of new. There's nobody else was doing that at that time, or very few people were, because HIV was still very new. In Europe, it wasn't a big thing, so in Europe, they were not developing one of these things. So, but also from around the year 2005, donors began to take a lot of interest in HIV, financing HIV work, so the prevention side, the treatment side. And so we kind of drifted now into the consulting world.
Yeah.
So initially, we were doing work around just looking at country preparedness. For example, as a country, say if it's Kenya or Mozambique or whoever, do they have the capacity to scale up treatment? Because that was a big thing at that time.
So you identified a gap,
yes.
And now you wanted to solve the problem.
Yeah. Okay. And so we would do like, do we have enough doctors? Do we have enough labs? Do we have enough nurses? So essentially it was, that's how we got into the consulting world. It was a lot of work just around scaling up ARV treatments and what were the training needs, training constraints, the funding constraints, how much money do you need to buy the equipment, to buy the drugs, to buy reagents, and where were the numbers? So which treatment center? So it was in some way it was a very exciting time because you're doing something which had never been done before in terms of scaling up treatments from very few people on treatment and trying to scale this up to from 5,000, 20,000 to 100,000. I think now is a couple of millions. But just scaling up, that was a real challenge.
Okay.
And playing a small part in that scale up was for me a very interesting time. And going to a hospital which was not offering ARVs, and then you go and they start, and then 3 months later they are treating 100 people, 200 people, and it reached a point you couldn't tell whether somebody had HIV or not because they were all on ARVs, or healthy, or walking around.
Which is good.
Yeah, so it was for me a very proud time for me. Because it's not many times in life you do something which you can see impact. In fact, a lot of the consulting work I did after that, which was built a lot around, for example, training health workers in terms of leadership and management and strategic planning, is not the kind of work where you can kind of quickly see the impact. In fact, sometimes you almost are not sure, is this making a difference? Is this hospital changing? Is this ministry changing? But I think that that time in between 2005 and 2008, people who were in this field really saw the impact.
Yeah.
And the situation changing from a very hopeless situation to a hopeful situation where people were gaining skills and patients were getting the care that wasn't available just a few years before.
Okay. Thank you for what you did, Kiarie. And just a question. Your role is not really defined in the books, the consultation role, such that when a pharmacist finishes campus, they would say, I want to get into consultation. So what would you advise someone who'd like to do something like that, or would want to get into a field that's not really defined?
Yeah. I think it's when we graduated, we knew you worked in retail, or you worked in industry, or you worked in hospital.
Yes.
And within those fields, in retail, you just worked in retail. If you're in hospital, you worked in hospital, you worked in the pharmacy. There was no clinical pharmacy then. Yeah, it wasn't there.
When was it introduced? Clinical pharmacy?
I think clinical pharmacy itself didn't start even like the US until the early 2000s or late 90s. So in Kenya, I would say maybe after, I can't tell the date, but it's after we had graduated.
Nice.
In terms of even having a clinical pharmacist. We had one clinical pharmacist who I think was the only one in Kenya who was our lecturer. Yeah. But it took time. Okay. In industry, you could work in quality assurance, you could work in production, you could work in marketing. That was it. So, but right now, today, there are pharmacists working in all kinds of areas, in finance, in IT, policy, in different types, in vet medicine, or maybe vet manufacturing, for example, manufacturing vet products. So I think it's really opened up, which is a good thing. But the consulting world is very broad. Okay. So, for example, I know pharmacists who went into areas like health economics. But again, as I said, the important thing is to discover yourself. Okay. What is it you enjoy doing? What do you feel you have talent for? Then see what is out there. Try it. Volunteer somewhere. See if you like it. And once you know this what you are, then build your skills in it. And you can do anything. Pharmacists is a very demanding course. So if you qualify to be a pharmacist, it means you have what it takes to learn a lot. I think we undersell ourselves. We underestimate what we can do. Okay. But if you can qualify to go and study pharmacy, you'd be surprised how well you can do so many other things. And you're just finding that what is that thing and do it. And that includes doing business. Yeah. So I know many pharmacists today are doing very well in business, not just the pharmaceutical side of business, but out there I know a pharmacist friend of mine who is a very big publisher and printer, and does work from Kenya, but supplies prints books for almost all of Africa. So and I think what pharmacy trains you to kind of have a keen eye, to be precise about things, to be systematic. I think those skills and that approach to things lends itself to succeeding in so many other areas. To study, to be analytical. So those same skills allow you to succeed in other things. So we have the whole world in front of us, but it's just being brave, being courageous, trying different things, knowing it's going to be hard in the beginning. Yeah. Everything is hard. If you go, for example, you are a pharmacist and go to work as a financial analyst in a bank, why should they trust? They have to initially, they're right in doubting you. Yeah. Why is this pharmacist? What's he doing here? But you have to prove yourself. Okay. And you can, and you must.
Talking about business, this is a very good example of that. We are at Tumaini Gardens in Isinya. Yeah, and I'll just show you some pictures of this beautiful place. If you want a place to go and rest, to go and have a good time with your family or friends or a vacation, Tumaini Gardens is a good place at Isinya. Yeah, so Dr. It is a very good example of business. You are into entrepreneurship. Would you tell us why you decided to start this garden, this beautiful garden we are at?
It's kind of evolved. Okay. It wasn't. So sometimes I joke I've come full circle from making tablets and syrups to making mandazi. Yeah. But it's again, as I said, we maybe partly both working for Glaxo and especially in my consulting work, I traveled quite a bit, stayed in hotels, and so I thought just holding workshops and trainings in hotels. Yeah. I admired some of those hotels we went to. I thought they're very well run, they are clean, they seem to have good business. So I think that's where my interest and kind of playing now in the side where I was doing training work and going to all these hotels where we held workshops and so on. And so that whole area of the conferencing side and linking it to that's what I was doing at that time. just made me interested in hotels.
Okay.
And so we had bought this land at some point, and we thought, what do we do with it? And so it kind of started from there. We started small, and I think I also have always had some interest in people and kind of growing people, empowering people.
Yes.
So I think that this whole idea of offering to people some good place to come and enjoy and relax. And again, having worked in Glaxo, and I told you I had a very demanding boss. And so just kind of things which are designed well, maintained well, clean. So that kind of fits in this hospitality business. So I enjoy doing it. I'm very interested in the environment. That's kind of my new passion. So creating a beautiful environment, conservation, so the birds, and we have an organic farm here. So that kind of site is, because as we were discussing earlier, is I think something which is, to me, very important is to accept that we have to transition. And for many reasons, because you get older.
Yes.
Your interests change. The passion you had for some things is no longer there. And so I think for me, transitioning and accepting change, accepting that there's time and place for everything. And that's what you did with a lot of passion you really enjoyed doing when you were in your 30s. May no longer give you the satisfaction in your 40s or 50s. So I think just having the courage to transition is very hard, especially if you're doing well in some area. Maybe you are making money. To kind of leave that and start something which is new is very hard. But I think it's something we all must. Because that's what life is. So I also enjoy working with young people, and but it means you have to let the young people do certain things you used to, because they're excited about that, they're passionate, they bring new energy to it, they bring new perspectives. And I think for me now, not doing certain things I did, but maybe kind of working with people who are excited about that is important. And just being older now, and I feel I've done different things, but I think whatever I was doing at the time, I was passionate about. And when the passion died, I kind of moved on. And I've been lucky that I found something
to be passionate about.
So even at my age now, there are things I'm really excited about, and I want to do. It's not about the money. Obviously, the best thing you can do is do something you're both passionate and also gives you money. But if you have to choose one, both, the best is to have both money and passion. But if you have to pick one, I would say choose passion. The money is going to excite you for a very short time, but passion will allow you to even go through periods when there's no money. Obviously, at the end of the day, I believe if you're really passionate about something, then it will also make some money.
What has been the major challenge in entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is hard.
Very,
very hard. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's easy if you're working with a company, you're working with Glaxo, or I'm working with a donor with USA, the show. You're using other people's money. And most of those people have a lot of money. They have been around for a long time. And so you almost kind of don't think about the money. You almost think, I have this task, this assignment. But when you run a business, you have expenses to pay. You have to pay your staff. You have to pay your suppliers. You have to pay yourself. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay levies. Almost everyone is coming to an entrepreneur to pay. So, and it's really hard because your income is not always constant. Expenses tend to be constant. So managing cash flow is extremely hard. I think the entrepreneurship is often glamorized. People, all these pictures I read articles about, this guy's making millions. Look at the car he drives. And but entrepreneurship is very hard, and it's not for the faint-hearted. And at some point, it doesn't matter. You'll run into problems. can be at the beginning, at the middle, at the end. But so, for example, in a business like this, a few years ago we had COVID. With COVID, no customers, no money, but you have expenses. So, but if your heart is in it, that allows you to go past those obstacles. If you're doing something you really like, and I think for me the entrepreneurship, yes, as I've said, is extremely hard, not glamorous. It's a lot of hard work every day. It could be and a lot of small things. Something has gone wrong. You have run out of water. Kenya Power has messed up again. The transformer has blown. There are so many things. It's flooded. It's this. Some supplier has let you down. So every day there is something. There is. So it keeps you on your toes. But there are also good things. You get some good clients. But for me, the entrepreneurship, hard as it is, also very rewarding. Just creating something and seeing a client walk in to a place which didn't exist some time back, and now there's demand for. I think for me that the creation part. I think the creating something, a product, a service, is very rewarding, and finding that is satisfying, filling a gap that was there in the market. Employing people that into mine we employ quite a lot of young people, and just seeing those people change, seeing them, there's dignity in work. So being able to give people work to forget the money, but they have purpose in life. To me, is very important to support local suppliers. You buy food from them, people who come to maintain your equipment. So I think in our country, we really need more entrepreneurs, much fewer job seekers.
But us, we have to get the jobs before we can create jobs.
Agree. And many people go into entrepreneurship for different reasons. Some is because they didn't get a job, so you find yourself there. Some you got a job and maybe you don't like it so much. Some you got a job and your services were terminated. And some is that's what they really wanted to do. So yes, I can do a job I don't like, even for a year, for 2, for 3, because it's going to give me the means to do what I really like. So, but I think for our country, the thing that's going to make a difference to our country is more people starting new things. The government can employ people, but only so many. Every country which does well, you go to Taiwan, it's got one of the highest proportions of people who are entrepreneurs. You go to the US, to Silicon Valley, it's really that culture and people have accepted it. And you go to college so that they can come up with an idea and they can go to the market with that idea. We kind of need to. I like the fact that eventually I found myself here, but really it took me too long, and I wish I had started earlier, much earlier. But I was caught up in that was the mindset of my generation. That you go to school, you get a good job, you rise up, you go up the ranks, and then you retire, and you get a pension, and really that's not going to build our country.
So what would you tell the younger generation? How should we change our mindset?
To know that there are tremendous opportunities. It's not easy. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but it's doable. People are doing it every day in this country, in other countries. People with much fewer skills than the pharmacists. Much fewer lower levels of education. And they're succeeding. So, but it's as I've said, it's extremely difficult, but it's extremely rewarding. And that's what's going to build you, to build the country. And the opportunities are many. You can do it, as I said, within the various pharmacy disciplines, retail, the manufacturing, the hospital. There's, for example, I always say a lot of opportunities, even in alternative medicine. Is a huge growth area, but most of us feel that kind of there's a place for God. But it needs to be professionally run. And most of the people now who manage alternative medicines, who import, export, manufacture, are not pharmacists. Then why aren't we doing that?
Why do you think the complementary medicine are not regulated in Kenya? And what do you think the pharmacist can do if someone decides to get into this space?
There is some regulation, obviously, not so much. I think the Pharmacy and Poisons Board now has some procedures for registering those products and how you sell them. But obviously, I think as a medical profession, of which pharmacists are, is always looked down on complementary. So even the way it's taught in school, but people, if there's such growing interest in it, I think I looked at this some time back, even in places like the US, is the fastest growing pharma field. So even as an opportunity, as a commercial opportunity, and it's crying for people who can manage it professionally, people who can make professional claims, who can back it up with data, not just people who exaggerate the claims and doubt they can treat everything. But it's so those are the kind of areas that are there. But even outside pharmacy, as we say, in IT, in finance, in banking, in virtually any field you can think of, pharmacists can excel in. And it's just finding, as I say, know yourself, and find that area for which you have passion in academia, in research. There are many areas of the pharmacists can create enterprises around. And the younger you can start, the better. Don't start at our age.
Okay, how would you define leadership? You are very passionate about leadership. You've talked a lot about working with people and gaining soft skills that have enabled you to be where you are today. How would you define leadership?
I used to work for an organization that defined leadership as enabling others to face challenges and achieve results. Okay. So for me, I think that the big thing is it means that leaders, first of all, accept and recognize that challenges exist. You cannot be a leader who denies or who thinks things are and life is easy. So you acknowledge and accept that challenges exist, but they can be overcome. And one job of a leader is to find ways. And the challenges are many. They range from financial to legal to policy. There'll be challenges in Kenya, for example, corruption and so on. So those challenges will be there. But I think also for me, it's very important to think of leadership in terms of results and outcomes. Okay. Too many people, if you're saying you are a leader, you need to show where the results. What have you made better? Okay. Who have you made better? So I think once you have clearly defined things to achieve, and then you achieve them, and they could be small things. And actually, it's achieving results that helps leaders grow. Because once you realize, I'm making it, or my business is growing, even a very small way. But also recognizing that you can't do it alone, that you need people. And that for me, it's very important that if you give people a chance, they will surprise you. Usually in positive ways. That people need to be developed, be motivated, be guided, and they will grow beyond what we expect. But also, when we have low expectations of people, then they meet those expectations. Something I think is called the chameleon effect, that people rise to a level of expectation of them. So I think if you're just going to do something alone, it can only be so big. But we can do so much more by working with others, both our employees, partners, customers, and clients. You are going to achieve much more by working with other people and finding ways of doing that. So leadership is really about that. And it's not about complex things that are taught in Harvard and Oxford. It's really about saying, how will I overcome the obstacles that I face? And how will I keep my eyes on results? Okay. And judge myself based on results. Efforts are important, but they're only important in as far as they produce results. How do we help even the people we work with become productive, produce results?
Okay, thank you, Dr. As we draw to a close, how would you summarize your journey professionally and in entrepreneurship? If you can use words to summarize.
There are many things. One thing for sure, if I was to start again, I would do it differently.
Okay.
But life sometimes doesn't give us.
What would you do differently?
I think I would have wanted to broaden my skills earlier, and it's something I encourage people. Don't just put yourself in this pharmacy pigeonhole. So think, how can you understand everything else around it? Politics, economics, finance, all of, and this can be just by reading, taking an interest, by studying. So I think that I would have to do that much earlier. I would want to broaden. So I always challenge pharmacists, young pharmacists. Read a book that's not in your field. Okay. Go buy a book on art, on economics, or something. So I think that's one thing I would do. I think I would take more risks.
Okay.
Yes, I would take more risks. I would try to find people early that I would learn from. So mentors, there are always people you can. I think I try to do that much more, to find somebody who is doing something that impresses me and just talk to those people, find out what, and it could be anybody. It's not if you have a passion for farming or for, you can go and talk to somebody. Maybe it's not even senior, maybe they don't have the degrees, but there's something they really know about that field. So there are things I would do differently. But also I'm happy with my journey, because there are things I learned later than I should have learned them. So, but I feel I've learned them. I feel I've taken a few risks along the way, leaving a well-paying job.
Yeah.
Starting this small business in the middle of nowhere.
It's in a good place.
Actually in the bush.
Yeah, when I was coming, the guy was like, unaingia tu kwa vichakani, unaingia vichakani. Yeah.
So I think it's kind of, I think there's an old saying, paralysis by analysis. I think sometimes we overanalyze things. We want to kind of cross every T, but take a few risks. So if you feel that you 60, 70, 80% this thing may work, just jump into it and learn as you go. Don't be afraid of failing.
We are afraid of that.
Don't be afraid of it. And for sure you're going to fail. In fact, if you're going to succeed, you have to fail.
Okay.
You must fail. If you're not failing, it means you're not going out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You're not trying big things. You are not taking risks. Because if you're taking risks, you're trying new things, something will fail. But in every failure, ask yourself, what have I learned from this? How will I do it differently next time? Yeah. And I think there's a problem also is especially in entrepreneurship, we look at people who have succeeded and we see the end, but we don't see the journey. And even sometimes what looks like success, maybe that person is having a lot of problems even at that particular time. But because we glamorize, oh, this guy drives this car, this guy dresses like this, so I think it's, for me, I've taken a few risks. I'm still taking a few more. I think I've learned to take risks, to not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to fail. To lose money. You lose something and you'll find you lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But also you'll do something and find, oh, this thing is making sense. But so long as every time your heart is there, the mistakes you make are sincere. You're not doing it because some guy told you, will do this, will triple your money. So we are not saying make silly mistakes. Don't make silly mistakes. Think through it, but you don't have to wait until you're 100% sure.
Okay.
Once you're convinced I would want to do this, just do it.
Just do it.
And you're going to succeed.
Okay. What's that one thing you tell a young pharmacist out there who is confused or they don't know which path to take? Yeah.
That first of all, it's okay to be confused.
Okay.
And I think Steve Jobs used to say something like, if you don't know what you really want to do, go and even get a job as a bus driver and just do that bus driving until you can figure out. So just stay where you are, figure out, but also try different things. Talk to different types of people. I think the problem is we talk to people who are like us. Go and talk to somebody who is in a different industry, who does some different things. Open yourself to different environments. Go volunteer to do something maybe you would normally not do. Go teach in a garden for a week. You'll be surprised where inspiration will come from. Yeah, but we play too safe, and we think certain things are beneath us. A whole pharmacist can't go and do this. Go and do that. Go start a small shamba and go and dig and do work, physically work there. Go start building your own house yourself, or paint it, or inspiration will come by doing those kind of things. So to the young pharmacist, the world is ahead of you, and you have everything it takes to succeed, but it's not going to be easy.
Thank you so much, Dr. for your time. Yeah, it was great having you, and I hope you've learned something. As Dr. said, university sometimes does not answer all the questions, but it opens your eyes to the very many possibilities that are in this world. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.